Hello and welcome once again. My name is Darren, and this is me playing Arkham Horror: The Living Card Game in Lackey. So I am going to go ahead and continue playing the Dunwhich cycle. Um, Gonna fix one thing here quick. Sorry about that. Um, so um, yeah, my last playthrough went rather well. I'm playing Ashcan Pete. Want to thank a couple of folks here at the beginning. First, a couple of folks mentioned some neat ways to handle resources. If you hover over it and press the up and down buttons, you can add and subtract resources without actually having to go into it. And once again, I did not build this deck. I did find this deck on ArkhamDB, and I believe the Grim Reaper or the Grimmer Reaper, something to that nature, had said that he built this deck, and it is a lot of fun and really interesting. Um, One of the things I did last time is I did talk a little bit about my method, and I wanted to just mention real quick here that before recording today, I did go through a couple of playthroughs of this, as this was as it is now. Like say it was like my second uh, part of the Dunwich. So I like after playing um, extracurricular activity. And thus far, my playthroughs did not go spectacular. I have struggled a little bit. This agenda does go pretty quick. It and then once it goes, your time is pretty limited. So but I will go ahead and digress, and I'll go ahead and then get started here. So we are playing The House Always Wins on standard difficulty. We are playing this after extracurricular activity. Um, if you watched extracurricular activity, I had two experience points from extracurricular activity from locations uh, that had been cleared of clues. I didn't beat any of the enemies that have XP or anything that nature. It was just the Orin Library and the Humanities Building, I believe, or his office. The night is still young, whatever that location is. I cleared those from clues, so I had 2 XP, which I actually that's kind of one of the other funny things is I did not spend that XP. I kind of wanted to get Scrapper going here so that when you build this, when you put this together, if you get Dark Horse quick, you can get it going. So I did not I did not even it's not even here. So no XP spent. I have 2 XP, and we will go ahead and get going here. So we're starting with Agenda 1A. Pardon me. The Clover Club. You have entered the Clover Club Casino in search of Dr. Morgan. The club is bustling at this late hour, filled with patrons looking to relax and drink, or make it big. You don't appear to be in much danger. During Agenda 1A, each criminal enemy gains aloof, so when they move to my location, they will not automatically engage me, and if I want to attack them, I would have to take an action to engage them first. Forced, if an investigator deals damage to a criminal enemy, immediately advance. And we're going to start with Act 1A, Beginner's Luck. You need to find Dr. Morgan. The club is packed. Perhaps somebody knows where he is. As a reaction, when you reveal a Chaos token, you may treat that token as if it were any other token in the Chaos bag. If you do, remember that you have cheated. Group limit once per round. Objective: when the investigators have collected the requisite number of clues, they must immediately spend them to advance. That is a nice note that unlike a lot of other acts, once you have that 4, you spend it. Um, the standard difficulty, once again, it is a -2 on the skull. You may spend 2 resources to treat that token as a 0 instead. The cultist is a -3. If you succeed, you gain 3 resources, and the tablet is a -2. If you fail, discard 3 resources. If you're familiar with the game, because I did not save the students, I do have a tablet in there. Um, so there is that. Dr. Warren Rice, Professor, pardon me, is in the deck somewhere um, as well as a note. So we'll start here with my opening hand. I did draw into Peter Silvestri. I have a Desperate Search. I have a No Stone Unturned. I have a Manual Dexterity, and I have a Lucky. If you've watched my previous playthroughs, yes, I am playing the Desperate Searches. One of the things I really like about them is it's real easy to get Ashcan Pete at three sanity because he only starts with 5, so he only has to take 2 horror before you can start using those desperate cards. Being that I've been playing some Survivor here, I would kind of like to see. I kind of feel like Desperate is almost a Survivor card, just in general. Like, I'd like to see some more fleshing out of this Desperate keyword, potentially in the Survivor specific class. Because I'll admit that Guts and Say Your Prayers are not quite as needed in Ashcan. I do like Guts because it gives you that draw, but I've been kind of thinking of trying to replace Say Your Prayers with something else. But my 5 cards of Splashing from Outside are already being used for other things. I know I've got 2 Vicious Blows. I know I have 1 No Stone Unturned, and thinking off the top of my head, I can't think of my other 2 cards, but I would potentially maybe take out something else to give me a few more options outside of maybe the Say Your Prayer specifically on these desperate cards. But that being beside the point, we'll go ahead and mulligan. I don't think I want this Desperate Search, Manual Dexterity, or Lucky. I do want No Stone Unturned so I can use it to fish for Dark Horse. This is a Dark Horse build, no cost, but knowing this particular scenario, money is fairly important, at least at the very beginning. So I will probably put it out here pretty quick, but it probably won't see much use until about mid-game. Alright, so we need to draw back up. So 1. So that is a weakness. You do immediately, during the setup, you do immediately discard that and redraw. 1, 2, 3. So let's see what we've drawn back up to. We have an Overpower. We have a Fight or Flight. We have the Guts, which I talked about a moment ago. We have Peter Silvestri. And we have a No Stone Unturned. We'll go to the discard. We'll put those 4 cards back in my deck and shuffle. And we are ready to get started. So I think the first thing I'm going to do, I do want Dark Horse because here a little later when I get some more locations out, investigating does become pretty important. At the beginning here, it's not so important. Another Peter Silvestri, a Dark Horse, or potentially a Magnifying Glass is what I'm looking for with this No Stone Unturned. So No Stone Unturned is a 2-cost event. It has a wild icon. It has the Insight trait. It says choose an investigator at your location. That investigator searches the top 6 cards of his or her deck for a card, draws it, and shuffles his or her deck. So, wow, not much of anything. What does Professor Rice actually do? He gives you an extra intellect. After you discover the last remaining clue in your location, you can discard it. You can exhaust him to draw a card. So I actually think I'm going to pull the good professor into my hand. Make sure, and there may be a way to do this, but if I go from shuffle, or not to shuffle before you press done here. So it'll go ahead and shuffle up the deck, as that's part of the instructions on the card. I'll go to my discard. So my first action was no stone unturned. Second action, I want to go ahead and pull that one clue off of La Bella Luna, I think. So La Bella Luna is a 2-shroud location with 1 clue per investigator. It has the action resign. This was a bust. So I'll go ahead and use the ability on Duke. I'm going to exhaust Duke to investigate La Bella Luna. You investigate with a base skill of 4. You may move to a connecting location immediately before investigating with this effect. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just go ahead and do this at a 4. So this is a... Yep, this is a 4 to 2. Shuffle up the Chaos Bag, and Chaos Bag, you have a -1, so that is a pass. 3 to 2. Take the clue off here, and put the clue here. Now, I have one more action. Like I said, this particular scenario, money is pretty important right here at the very beginning, so I'm not going to play Peter. Think I'm actually going to go ahead and gain a resource as my third action. So if I hover over that and press up key, boop, 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 boop. Very nice. Thank you again, the person that mentioned that. That's really nice. Instead of having to go on that menu every time. Whoops, I put it. Oh. Does that actually put a resource on him? That's cool. It can stay there. That's not a big deal. Sometimes I don't like the resources on the player cards because for some reason it doesn't like to go away. And yet again, I've not marked that as the investigator phase, but that was my very first investigator phase because you do skip the mythos phase during the first turn. Enemy phase, the Clover Club Pit Boss will move up here to the Bella Luna because it does have Hunter. Again, prey is not necessarily all that important. If you have questions about what prey is as a keyword, feel free, contact me. I can help you with that keyword because I know it can definitely cause some confusion. But in this particular case, as I'm just one investigator, we won't even worry about it right now. But he does have Hunter, so he'll move during the enemy phase. Normally, he would engage me and do some damage, but because he currently has aloof because of the agenda, he does not do that. We will come to the upkeep phase where we will draw a card. We will gain a resource. We will ready Duke. Go to the Mythos phase. We'll add a Doom to the agenda. And we'll draw a first encounter card. And this encounter deck has really been what's been hurting me in my practice playthroughs. Pardon me. All right, so we pulled a Cursed Luck. It is a Treachery. It has Omen traded. It has Revelation. Put Cursed Luck into play in your threat area. I really feel like that should be Rex Murphy in that picture, but that's okay. In your threat area, you get -1 skill value during skill tests. Forced after you succeed a skill test by 1 or more, discard Cursed Luck. Alright. That's my first Mythos phase. We'll go to the Investigator phase again. Alright. Investigator phase, first action, I'm going to move to the Clover Club Lounge. We'll reveal it and add some clues, if any. Of course, it has none. It does have a shroud value of 2. It has 0 clues. It has, while it is Act 1, the Clover Club Lounge gains action. Discard an ally asset from your hand, gain 2 clues from the token pool. You can do that once per game. I'm going to go ahead. It is Act 1. It is Act 1. So I'm going to go ahead and... Boy, this is actually kind of a tough call. I think Peter Silvestri is just too good. His ability is so good. But there's not a lot of horror in this part of the game until a little later. Boy, it's actually kind of a little bit of a tough call. Well, Dr. Rice, or Doctor, I keep calling him Doctor. Professor Warren Rice is Singleton. He is a one of because he is a story asset. He just came in because I did rescue him in the last playthrough. So I'm gonna go ahead. You're probably yelling at me, "Don't discard Peter," and I'm probably gonna regret this. I do call this playthrough Pete and Pete. There's just one more Pete, right? But and I'll gain 2 clues. All right. And so action 1 was to move. Action 2 was discarding an ally asset. Action 3, we're going to go ahead and move to the card room, Clover Club card room. We will reveal it in any tokens, any clues. Of course, it has none. It has a shroud value of 3, 0 clues. It says, while it is Act 1, Clover Club card room gains as an action, spend 2 resources, reveal a random chaos token. If it is the Elder Sign symbol, gain 2 clues and 2 resources from the token pool. If it is an even number, gain 2 clues from the token pool. If it is an odd number or one of the crummy symbols, nothing happens. I have been playing this that zeros are even. If I pull a 0, I'm going to consider that a success. But if somebody could correct me, I'm not sure if the FAQ maybe says what 0 actually counts as in this particular game. I almost wish it said if it were an odd number or a 0, blah, 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 the crazy symbols. Nothing happens. But I've been playing 0 as an even number, so if I do pull a 0 on this, I am going to consider it as a success, as an FYI. Alright, go to the enemy phase. The Clover Club pit boss will move 1 location towards the investigator, so he'll come back down into the lounge. He's no longer checking on what's going on outside. He's come back inside. And we will come to the upkeep phase, where we will draw a card. I've not been going through this, but just as an so I make sure we do check our hand size during after the draw. That's important. So I have 6 cards currently, so I am underneath the 8, which is your normal hand size limit. So that's that. So I drew a card, and I will gain a resource. Bloop. Mythos phase, we'll add a doom to the agenda. And we'll draw an encounter card. Arousing suspicions. Revelation. Put 1 doom on each enemy at your location. If no doom was placed by this effect, lose 2 resources. So I will just go ahead and lose 2 resources. That was not horrible. I would like to have all 3 actions to be able to do this, just in case, but 2 is fine. Alright, so we will move on back to the investigator phase. Now, if you watch this and you have a thought on this, I almost always try and get this as soon as possible. Even when I'm not playing this after extracurricular activity. I try not to put too many spoilers on here or metagame it too much, but I do think it's important to just make a note that if you're doing this as part of a campaign and doing the Dunwhich campaign, if you've done extracurricular activities first, once this flips, you don't go to 2A. You immediately go to 2B, which that means you read that resolution, you read all that, and then you're going to 3A. So you kind of skip over about 3 worth of doom. So I think it's kind of important to get these clues to move this forward as quickly as possible. But if you get this going, if you flip this before this moves on, then when the next location shows up so that you can move forward, it does show up with an enemy. I do think part of the reason I've been especially going ahead and moving forward with this with Pete is because he can handle enemies better than most other investigators, save maybe guardians. But he can handle them pretty well because he has Duke and he can do 2 damage. And as you notice, like the Clover Club pit boss, he's got damage on a multiple of 2, and so do uh, most of the other criminal enemies have that, some sort of multiple of 2 as their health. So I do would like some of your thoughts. So feel free to share those with me. It'll be past the point where it maybe matters because I'll have already done it. But I would still find that interesting. But I'm going to go ahead and move on with the investigator phase. So I've got 3 actions. First action, I'm going to spend 2 resources to use this action in the Clover Club card room. We will shuffle up the chaos bag. Chaos bag, you are an odd number, so odd number, nothing happens. Drop that back in the chaos bag. We'll go ahead, second action, we'll go ahead and do this again. Chaos bag. 0. So I promise I did not know I was going to pull a 0 when I was talking about 0 before as an even number, but that's what I have pulled. I have pulled a 0. So I am playing this game as in a negative 4, 2, 0, and are even, and of course the negative 3, the negative 1, and the plus 1 are odd numbers. If anybody has some evidence contrary to 0 being an even number, somewhere official and an FF on the FFG side or something to that nature, I will re-record this episode with it being an odd number and start this one completely over. So I will not play any more into the Dunwhich cycle for a couple days to get some feedback on whether on 0 being an even or odd number. All right, so this was my second action. We'll go ahead and dump that back. We'll go ahead and, just for sake of completion, I'll go ahead and give myself a couple of clues. So I have surpassed the objective. When the investigators have collected the requisite number of clues, they must immediately spend them to advance. You still get the 2 clues, so you'd still have 1 left over. I think that's important, and you'll find out why later. All right, so we will go. So I still have 1 action, but we're going to go ahead and advance the act. High Roller. After speaking to a number of gamblers and servers, it seems as though Dr. Morgan has had quite the run lately. Instead of cashing in his winnings, he was convinced to double down. He was last seen entering the guarded hall near the back of the card room. Put the set-aside darkened hallway into play. If it is Agenda 1, which it is, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a criminal enemy is discarded. Spawn that enemy in the darkened hall. So we will go ahead and go into my aside. I'm going to go ahead and pull Peter Clover and Dr. Francis Morgan out from in here just because I just think it's a little easier. We'll pull out the darkened hallway. We'll go to the encounter deck and we'll discard some cards. First card, Something in the Drinks. Second card, Swarm of Rats. Third card, Cursed Luck. Fourth card, Twist of Fate. Albanian's Thugs. Oh, those guys just seem to love to guard that for me. Alright. Whoops. Okay, so we'll move on to 2A, Skin Game. Let's make sure we've done everything that we're supposed to do here. Darkened Hallway, Criminal Enemy, Spawn a Darkened Hall. Alright. Skin Game, Act 2A, Skin Game. Dr. Morgan is somewhere in the private section of the club where only VIPs and club managers are allowed. If you're to find him, you're going to have to sneak or even fight your way in. Objective: only investigators in the VIP area may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance, and currently I need and that is 2 clues per investigator, so I'll need 2 clues. We will go ahead and go back to my hand, and I still have 1 action left. I'm going to use that final action. I'm going to go ahead and move into the darkened hallway. We'll flip it and reveal any clues. Darkened hallway has no clues. It has a shroud value of 4. Forced, when the darkened hallway is revealed, put the 3 set aside back hall doorway locations. So I'll go back here. I do like to shuffle this, even though I think it shuffles it as part of the game. I'm going to move the Albanian's thug to the top. Now, he doesn't engage me because we're still in Agenda 1, so he still has aloof. So we're going to go ahead and put these 3 locations and the thing into play. Alright, so I spent 2 actions doing this. We progressed with the act. Third action was to move to the darkened hallway. And that is our 3 actions. So we'll go to the enemy phase. The Clover Club pit boss will move over to the card room. We'll go to the upkeep phase, where we will draw a card and gain a resource. Now this is where I would like to potentially get down a Dark Horse pretty soon. Just that plus is going to be pretty nice. These to get these clues and get them off of here, as much of a plus as you can get is better. Alright, so that's the upkeep phase, and we drew a Unexpected Courage. Mythos phase, we will add a Doom, and we'll draw an encounter card. Swarm of Rats. Having a Swarm of Rats with a Curse Luck is actually pretty nice. It's one of those times that you're really kind of glad to see something like that. So, because hopefully I can surpass that and get rid of that Curse Luck pretty easily. So go to the Investigator phase. That's what we're going to try and do. We're going to exhaust Duke to use his fight ability. So he is a fight of 4 versus combat of 1. So we're currently a 3 to 1. I do kind of want to pass this. I don't know that I want to waste an Unexpected Courage, even though it does allow the card, or an Overpower. It does allow a card draw, so I am going to go ahead and discard it to give myself a +2. So I'm currently 3, 4, 5 to 1, 5 to 1. Let's see, with Chaos Bag, -1. So that's a 4 to 1, that's a pass. Put that back in the Chaos Bag. Put that in the encounter discard. Put that in the encounter discard. Next, I'm going to, I think I'm going to go ahead and use Pete's, Ashcan Pete's ability to discard Fight or Flight to ready Duke. As my second action, I'm going to use the Investigate ability on Duke. You can exhaust Duke to investigate. You investigate with a base skill of 4. You may move to a connecting location immediately before investigating with this effect. So I'm going to move to this version of the back hall doorway, and we will see, we'll reveal it. So my second action currently, in case you have forgotten, we've moved into the art gallery. It has a shroud value of 2. It has 1 clue per investigator. Forced, after you fail a skill test while investigating the art gallery, lose 2 resources, and it has a victory of 1. So I will go ahead and complete the investigate. Yep, we're going to just take this. You know what? I did not draw from the win on the Overpowered, I did not draw a card, so I drew fight or flight, which was fine. But all right, so let me complete that. So 4 to 2, and I'm not going to throw anything into this chaos bag. -1, so that's 3 versus 2. That's a win or a success. I'll remove a clue and gain a clue, and I still have 1 action. I fought the rats, and I used Duke's ability to move and investigate. Now, this is where things get a little sketchy, because if I move back there, I'm going to have a lot of enemies at one time, but I almost think that's what I want. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move back to the Darkened Hall. It's my 3rd action. We'll go to the enemy phase. The Clover Club Pit Boss will move along to the Albanian's Thugs. I will not... I think I gained a resource when I shouldn't have, because the Albanian's Thug... Did I... Yes, I started my turn there. I'm going to remove that resource. When you're... Oh, no, it's when it's engaged with you. Huh, never mind. Ignore that. That's only when it's engaged with you. I thought it was when it was at your location. So, enemy phase. Upkeep phase. So I went ahead and gained my resource, although I think you're supposed to draw first, logistically. Ooh, Wrecked by Nightmares. Kind of didn't want to see that, especially since I'm going to have a bunch of enemies on me, but I think it'll be okay. Wow, that's terrible. Alright, okay. Mythos phase. Normally a Doom would go on here, but since that makes the threshold, we will just go ahead and remove all Doom in play. We will go ahead and advance. Your questioning has drawn the attention of several men, hired thugs by the look of them. Francis doesn't want to be bothered, one of them says. We suggest you leave the premises before we force you to leave. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. If the players have completed extracurricular activities, advance directly to Agenda 2B. So we'll finish reading there because the rest of it doesn't apply. These guys engage me, which I think is important. We will go to the encounter discard pile. We'll do this first. We'll go to Agenda 2. And we will go ahead and go to Agenda 2B. You hear a crash from somewhere outside and screams of pain in the lounge. A terrible monstrosity smashes through the entrance to the club, crushing the stairwell and knocking over gangsters and patrons alike. Spawn a random enemy from the set-aside Hideous Abomination encounter set in the Clover Club Lounge. Shuffle the rest of that encounter set, the set-aside Striking Fear encounter set, and the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Move all investigators and unengaged enemies from La Bella Luna into the Clover Club Lounge. Remove La Bella Luna from the game. So we'll just go ahead. We're going to move La Bella Luna. We'll go here to my second encounter. We're going to go ahead and reveal all of these cards. I find this a little easier to do this way. We're going to pull that out for a moment. The Striking Fear. Pull these two for a moment. Put those there. Put these two back. Put him back. And we will consider the furthest left one. I think you can draw from here, but it just draws this one, so it's not a big deal. We'll go ahead and put this conglomeration of spheres into the Clover Club Lounge. Move these to here. Give this a shuffle. And we will move on. I think that was everything. Yep. Move to Agenda 3. Agenda 3A. Chaos in the Clover Club. Amidst the chaos and confusion, the strange abominations attack everyone in the club. Screams echo through the halls as the blood begins to spray. Forced. At the start of the enemy phase, discard each criminal enemy at the same location as an abomination enemy. Well, I'm kind of in a little bit of a tough situation here. He has 4. He has 2. I mean, I have some... Time isn't the issue here. The issue here is that... Oh, I need to draw an encounter card. Let's just go ahead before I forget that. Oh, wow. Well, that may have become a non-issue. Alright, so I drew a Servant of the Lurker. He has 4 combat, 5 health, and 2 agility. He is Monster and Abomination traded. His prey is the lowest agility. Again, that really doesn't matter in this particular case. He has the Hunter keyword. Forced when the Servant of the Lurker attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. And he does 2 damage and 2 horror per attack. Alright, so now we're at the investigator phase. So that, pardon me. That combat of 4 with Ashcan's just poor combat of 2 is real bad. But so I think my play here is to evade the Servant of the Lurker, to evade the O'Banion's Thug, and maybe to evade the Servant of the Lurker and maybe try and... Oh boy, those attacks are really high. Well, I think let's just start with evading the Servant of the Lurker. It has an evade of 2. It has an evade of 2. My agility is 3. That's the way I'm going to read this. So we're going to go ahead because I really would like to see an overpowered. We're going to discard the manual dexterity in this evade test. So I am a 5 to 2. Chaos Bag is a -1. That's 4 to 2. So that's successful. So the Servant of the Lurker does get exhausted and go into the darkened hallway. Now, I'm not so worried about the criminal enemies now because they will get discarded at the beginning of the enemy phase. That's before they attack or anything because they're at the same location as an abomination enemy. So they're going to go to the discard. Oh, let me go ahead and draw that card so I don't forget. It's a magnifying glass. Boy, howdy. Can I take, let's see, 2, 4. Oof. Nope, I can't afford to do that. I was thinking maybe I could afford to take some attacks of opportunity to discard Racks by Nightmares, but that's 4 damage, and I can only take 6. 8 in total, so the 2 attacks of opportunity. Well, they're not going to attack me during the enemy phase, though. I would just have to really... Nope, I'm gonna... As crazy as it sounds, I think I'm... Can I hit him once? Twice? The thing is I'm not quite certain I can hit him twice. His combat is 4, and Ashcan just has a combat of 2. So the most I can get up to is 4-5 for one attack, and then I'm going to have to attack him again. I think my only play here is to try and evade the Albanian's thug. I've got to spend a turn here, kind of doing nothing, because that came on me pretty good. So I'm just going to evade. 3-2. It's a 0. So that's successful. And 3-3. I'm not going to waste an unexpected courage because it's not going to affect me if I fail. Only thing that could really hurt me much is the tablet. -1, that's a fail. So, all right, we come to the enemy phase at the beginning of the enemy phase. So we're gonna. The agenda says at the start of the enemy phase, discard each criminal enemy at the same location as an abomination enemy. When I read discard, I read that means it goes back to the encounter discard. So I do not get to put the Clover Club pit boss in the victory display, unfortunately. The Albanian's thug goes to the encounter display, or to the encounter discard. The conglomeration of spheres, wow, yeah, moves to the Clover Club card room. We come to the upkeep phase, where I will draw a card, another unexpected courage, and gain a resource. The Duke does not ready because of Wrecked by Nightmares, but the Servant of the Lurker sure does, and he's going to re-engage me. We're going to go to the Mythos phase. We'll add a Doom to the agenda. We're going to draw our next encounter card. Rotting Remains. It is a terror. It is a treachery. This may be the rotting remains of that pit boss, potentially. Revelation. Test willpower of 3 for each point that you fail by. Take 1 horror. So this is one of the things I really like about Ashcan is I think he really has the fortitude there with that willpower of 4 to fight off most of the treacheries that come in the encounter discard. So, I mean, right now I'm 1 up on it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pitch a guts. So I'm a 6-3. That is a tablet. The tablet is a -2. So that puts me at 4-3. I still win that. And this goes back to Chaos Bag. This goes back into the encounter discard. And I get to draw a card. That is a reckless assault. That doesn't help me, unfortunately. Alright, so I think my play here is back to the investigator phase. I think we're going to try and evade him again. So he is a 3, or I am a 3 to his 2. I am going to discard an unexpected courage. So I am a 5-2. Cast bag, that's a 0. So he is successfully evaded. My second action is I'm going to move down here to this version. We'll just move this a little to the side so we're not confused about which one we're at. Of the darkened hallway. Really? So VIP area. While you're in the VIP area, you cannot draw cards or gain resources during the upkeep phase. I'm going to try and remember that. I will probably forget. It has 3 Shroud, 1 Clue per Investigator, and 1 Victory Point. I will go ahead as my third action. I'm going to go ahead and play a Dark Horse. Yep. This is going to be interesting. Well, at least we know how to get out of here. So we might just take some attacks of opportunity and get the F out of Dodge. Alright, enemy phase. The conglomeration of spears. Wow! Spheres. Thurkoth comes over here to the darkened hallway. We come to the upkeep phase. You might be wondering, hey, the Servant of the Lurker has Hunter. Why isn't he moving? He is not moving because he is exhausted during the enemy phase. So that is one of the nice things about evasion, is that you can at least mitigate some troubles by just, by evading. You can give yourself a turn. So he will get ready. I don't draw any cards or gain any resources because I'm in the VIP lounge. We come to the Mythos phase. We put a Doom on the agenda. We draw an encounter card. Distant Voices. It's fine. I don't really play a lot of assets or events, so Dissonant Voices is fine. Rather that than Frozen by Fear. Alright. Now we come to the Investigator phase. Now I'm somewhat tempted, because I do have some time here, to use 2 actions to get rid of Wrecked by Nightmares. So I can ready Duke, investigate to gain that clue. Then during the enemy phase, these 2 guys are going to come join me. That's a lot of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 3 and 3. Oof. That I can mitigate part of that onto Duke, and that would allow me to use those desperate skills. But even with Duke, yeah, I don't think I do that. Can I get this clue, move, and then move? No, because then, let's see, can I? I can put all of his damage onto Duke. And then put his damage on me. So I'll have 1 damage and 1 horror. And then I'm going to take... So let me do some math here. So if I were to pull this clue, then move here, and then move here, I'm going to take 2 attacks of opportunity. But I could put his entire damage, the Servant and Lurker's entire damage onto Duke. And then I would take 1 damage and 1 horror as attacks of opportunity. So that'd put me down to 5 health and 4 sanity. Then the enemy phase would happen, and I would take 3 health and 3 sanity. So I would have 2 health and 1 sanity left. And then I'd have to face whatever the encounter deck has to throw at me. And then I would resign here at the back alley. And I'll get 2 victory points plus whatever the whatever the encounter deck throws at me. Or whatever the resolution throws at me. I'm going to give this a try. You probably are at home screaming at me, "Don't do it," but I'm gonna try. So this is a 3. I am a 3 because of Dark Horse. I'm gonna pitch Warren Rice. It has an intellect at a wild, so that gives me a +2. So I'm a 5 to 3. I'm gonna go ahead and pitch the magnifying glass. 6 to 3. 6 to 3. That's what I'm gonna go with. I must well go ahead and pitch that unexpected courage. No reason to keep it. 8 to 3. Now I think there's only one thing in the chaos bag that'll ruin my day. Cultist is a -3. If I succeed, gain 3 resources. Ooh, do I have to gain 3 resources? I have to gain 3 resources. I kind of don't really want to gain 3 resources, but I will. I'm just going to do it through the menu because it was faster in that particular case, I think. All right, so that was action 1. So I gained that clue. Doesn't matter. I wasn't. Whoops! I did the wrong thing. The resign ability, when you resign, you leave your clues anyway, so I don't particularly see a reason to spend the clues to advance this. If you know of a reason that maybe I'm just not thinking of, let me know. Could I go here and evade these 2 guys? That's going to be much harder now because now I have some resources. And I'm going to be just even with this guy, even if I didn't. Second action, I'm going to go ahead and move. I'm just thinking if I can hold off a turn, I can have a turn where I can use the fight or flight. Boy, this is what makes this game really tough and really kind of fun for me, because I know you sitting here watching me, with the mouse not doing anything and kind of thinking. So now my thought process is maybe I kind of go back to my first thought here, and that is use 2 actions to discard Racked by Nightmares. This will go away at the end of the turn. At the end of the round. So the enemies are going to move. They'll do some damage, which I can spread out a little bit. I'll still have Duke. This will be gone. The upkeep phase, I'll get a draw card. Who knows what that's going to be. I won't gain a resource. And then I just have to get through this phase, and then we'll draw an encounter card. And as long as it's not another Dissonant Voices, I can play Fight or Flight, and I'll have all kinds of pluses. And maybe I'll pull a Vicious Blow and could, in one turn, see, I could maybe kill. If I pull a Vicious Blow without this and being able to have Duke ready, and he'll still be out because I would not kill him. I would just put 1 damage and 1 horror on him, and then I'll take the 2 and 2. Yeah, we're going to give this a try. We're going to see if we can succeed here, actually. So we're going to just use 2 actions to go ahead and discard Racked by Nightmares. Whew. Alright, we're going to come to the enemy phase. They would move down to the VIP area, but we're going to just go ahead and put them into my threat zone. They're going to do some damage, so Duke is going to take a damage and a horror. Peter, or Ashcan Pete, is going to take 2 damage and 2 horror, which he is taking from here. Attack should discard the top 2 cards of your deck. We're going to discard a Desperate Search and a Perception. That is actually fine. We come to the upkeep phase. We will. Oh no, I don't get to draw a card because I'm in the VIP area. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. I still think I'm okay. Upkeep phase. He does get to ready though, and we will go ahead and discard this. Now, all right, we come to the Mythos phase. Here comes the. This is going to be this Mythos card right here. Is going to be the answer to what happens. I am going to go ahead and continue on with Ashcan regardless of what happens here, whether I die or what. So we're going to see. All right. We'll add a Doom to the agenda. Draw an encounter card. All right. Oh, it's just lose 2 resources. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Thank you, encounter card, for doing what I want. And I keep forgetting that I don't necessarily have to go on the menu, but that's okay. I kind of wanted that. That was actually very helpful. I'll be able to turn back on Dark Horse here real easy. So we're going to go to the investigator phase. We're going to go ahead and play as a fast action, we're going to play Fight or Flight. So Fight or Flight is a fast. It says play only during your turn until the end of the round, so for a while. I'm going to get plus X combat and plus X agility, where X is the amount of horror on you. I have 2 horror, so I will have, if I use Duke, I'm going to have a base fight of 6, and if I try to evade, I'm going to have an agility of 5. Plus Dark Horse is back on now, so that's actually 7. So that's actually pretty nice. So we'll put this in the discard pile. Now, here comes the question. Do I just try to evade these guys? So it would take me all 3 actions and I could kill the Servant of the Lurker. Because he has a health of... But I'm not going to have Duke during one of those attacks. What is my attack? Okay, yeah, no, I don't think I can fight those two guys. I'm going to just evade. So my evade is a 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 1 from Dark Horse is 6, 6 to 2 against the Servant of the Lurker. Servant of the Lurker, 6 to 2. Chaos Bag -1, that's a 5 to 2, that is a success. Conglomeration of spears. I did it. I almost said it correctly, and then corrected myself and said it incorrectly. Mark that down. I don't, just being silly. Put that in your campaign log. All right, so this is going to be a 6 to 4 to, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 4. Yep. To evade the conglomeration of spheres. Wow, they take so long to kill. Cast bag. -2. That is 4 to 4. So that's successful. Conglomeration spheres stays here in the VIP area. I'm going to go ahead and use my last action to come back to the darkened hallway. Enemy phase. There are currently no readied enemies in play. Upkeep phase. I will draw a card. There's a run for your life. I will not gain a resource. These guys are going to get ready. Boy, to have a dynamite about now, but boy, even a dynamite wouldn't kill them. Mythos phase. Gonna add a doom to the agenda. And draw an encounter card. That's a Frozen in Fear. Yeah, we're gonna go. We're not gonna waste any more time here. Frozen in Fear is a treachery. It is a terror revelation. Put Frozen in Fear into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade, each round, it costs 1 additional action. Forced at the end of your turn, test willpower of 3. If you succeed, discard Frozen in Fear. Somebody out there is probably yelling at me that I should have probably spent those 2 clues. Again, I don't think it matters. Oh boy, would it have? No, I don't want to have to go back. Yeah, this Frozen in Fear. This Frozen in Fear. Getting Peter Clover is really, really difficult. He's going to deal some damage to me if I don't control him, and he's going to be sitting here in the Clover Club bar. So, like right now, I would have to move back to the card room. Then I could move to the bar. I would have to do whatever it takes to get him. I don't know off the top of my head. Then I'd have to move back to the card room, then back to the darkened hall, and back to here. I'd have to move through these guys. Yeah, I just don't think it would have been worth it. Boy, I'm starting to question that, though. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play this. Does something else happen? Nope. We're gonna go on because that's gonna take too much. We're gonna say 1-2 actions to move to this back hall doorway. We will reveal and add clues. It comes with 1 clue, and we will use our final action to resign. So that is that. I did want to make one other note. I do apologize. I know the screen may look a little different than the last time you saw it. I had previously done some recording of me playing this as if I had moved on to Act 3A, and I had several misplays, so I edited that out. But I did want to at least take a few moments and re-thank everybody for watching my videos. If you're enjoying it, give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment or message me. If you want to contact me, I'm around the places, primarily as Jacques Steampunk. I believe on the Discord channel I'm just Jacques. But feel free, drop me a message. If you play on Lackey, let me know if you'd be interested in playing together. I'd love to. I've got some other decks, um, and we could definitely do some 2-player as well. Pardon me. So just again, I did want to at least make one reiteration, just in case I said something different before that I missed when I re-listened to this, that I will be playing this as I had completed it in the video. So I resigned in Act 2. I had not moved on to Act 3. I did pick up the clue from here, and of course this didn't have a clue, and I resigned here at the back alley location in Act 2. So I'm going to read the resolution of that, and then I will proceed from there. Once again, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.